This morning's pledge will be led by Matt Traeger from Steamboat Springs, here as part of Alliance Disability. The House will come to order. Part of the Alliance Disabilities Awareness Day.
Please rise and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please take the roll.
Representatives Arndt. Becker J. Becker K. Brown. Buck. Buckner. Carver. Conti. Coram. Court. Danielson. Del Grosso. Dorr. Duran. Esgar. Everett. Fields. Foote. Representative Foote. Garnett. Janal. Hamner. Humphrey. Joshi. Kagan. Kaiser. Klingenschmidt. Kraft Tharp. Representative Kraft Tharp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsock. Lee. Lontine. Lundeen. McCann. Melton. Mitch Bush. Moreno. Navarro. Neville. Nordberg. Pabon.
Morning, Mr. Kohler.
Pedersen. Primavera. Priola. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Brupe. Ryden. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Tate. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholz. Winter. Young. Madam Speaker, excused.
With 64 present, 0 absent, 1 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the reading of the Journal of Tuesday, February 17, 2015 be dispensed with, and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Much better, but motion still passes. Announcements and introduction. Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Good morning, everyone. As we heard earlier, today is Alliance Day at the Capitol. And I would very much like to thank all the members and clients of the Alliance statewide for all that they do.
Representative Mitch Bush, can you hang on for one moment? I'm going to get the attention of the chamber. Can we please be respectful of Representative Mitch Bush's recognition of today? Representative Mitch Bush, please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Thank you again, colleagues. As I said, today is Alliance Day at the Capitol, and we should all be so thankful for all these community-based organizations that work every day to make life better for the developmentally disabled and who really are grassroots. And I would, at the risk of a fine, mention that in Routt County and in Moffat County, from Steamboat Springs, Horizons, which has been around for many, many years, and of course you saw our own Matt Traeger give the pledge today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Mitch Bush. You'll be fined $2. Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. We also have some other guests in the chamber today. I believe we have our career and technical educators. Are you in the chamber? Yes, okay.
We have one member here.
Well, I'd like to, yes, thank you. I'd like to welcome you to the Capitol. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the educators from the Colorado Career and Technical Education Association. Colorado career and technical education programs are a vital part of the state's education system, and more than 147,000 secondary and post-secondary students are enrolled in career and technical education programs across the state. These programs offer individuals lifelong opportunities to learn new skills which prepare them for post-secondary opportunities and provide them with high-skill, high-wage, and high-demand career choices. I'm proud to stand before you here today and pay tribute to the invaluable service these educators give our students each and every day in the classroom. And I'm confident that those students who choose to lead a life and career in technical fields will be prepared with the skills, knowledge, and experience they need to succeed in an increasingly competitive global economy, thanks to these excellent teachers. Once again, thank you for your service to education and welcome to the Capitol. Thank you.
Representative Primavera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I just wanted to remind the caucus that there's a lunch and learn event today from 12 to 1 in Senate Committee Room 356 with CHI. Food will be provided, and they'll be talking about the healthcare integration, including plans for Colorado's $65 million SIM grant. They want to make sure that any legislator who wants to come is welcome.
Representative Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I want to take a moment and introduce an incredible friend and mentor and former state legislator, Sherilyn Peniston, who's here with the Adams County James.
And if you want to see what it looks like on the other side, you'll notice that Representative Peniston is about 20 years younger, is much better looking, and that's what's on the other side for all of us, I hope. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Colleagues, I have two groups of people I would like to recognize. Over on my right here on the House floor, I have representatives from Starpoint of Fremont, Chaffee, and Custer County. If you would welcome them to the chamber, please stand and be recognized for their work with the Starpoint Industries. Also, I believe in the gallery, I have a group of students here who are participating in what is known in other states as governor's schools, and they are here. They'll be testifying on a bill today. They're the Colorado Student Leadership Institute students from around the state. If they're right up here, please stand and be recognized. Thank you for coming.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. A reminder that Rural Caucus will be meeting for lunch today, and we're going to switch the room across the hallway since we've had so many RSVPs. We need a bigger room, so we'll be in room 107. And we're going to have a discussion today with the Ag Council, who's going to sponsor our lunch and provide food, and have a discussion about collaboration with the ag community.
Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and I don't see them here yet, but I believe our Developmental Pathways folks will be here today, serving Arapahoe and Douglas County, so I hope you will welcome them. Are there some up there? Welcome. And Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I have another senior moment. Members, you should have a flyer on your desks today, and it outlines various services available to our older adults. And as you know, we are facing this, what they're calling the silver tsunami, And the thinking has changed pretty radically over the last few years in terms of trying to keep us in our homes longer. And so this flyer today tells you about all the additional services that are being offered to folks in their homes and in their wellness programs to make sure that we can stay at home as long as possible. I urge you to look at the stories, and you'll see them from Weld County, El Paso County, and Montrose Delta and San Miguel counties. They're all highlighted in the flyer today. Thank you.
Representative Tate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I'm here to ask to be excused tomorrow at noon. I've gotten approval from both majority and minority leadership.
With the permission of the majority and minority leaders, Representative Tate will be excused as requested.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Members, there was a very important victory in Colorado last night at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, and it's 139th one, no less. A 15-inch beagle named Miss P won. And so we should all congratulate Miss P on her victory. Members, thank you.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I'd like to introduce two fifth-grade students that are here shadowing today. They're from Pine Lane Elementary. They're sitting on the bench over here to my right, Zoe Hochevar and Zach Churchill. They're fifth graders. They're on the student council. If you have a chance to stop by and say hi, please do.
Representative Ransom, you'll be fined $2. Representative McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I just want to remind everyone that the Claw Caucus is tomorrow at noon, and that will be over in LSBA. We have some interesting presentations, and lunch will be provided for the legislators. So I hope to see you tomorrow at noon.
Representative Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Two changes for House Education today. First, we're moving to room 271. I understand that we're going to have remote testimony, so we're moving to room 271. And also, House Bill 151156 has been moved, laid over until later date at the request of the sponsor. So we're moving to 271, and we're taking House Bill 1156 off at the for today at the urging of the sponsor.
Representative Fields.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. Good morning, colleagues. I'd like to invite you for our very first Diabetes Caucus. That's going to be today from 12 to 1. We're going to be in room 354. Lunch will be provided, so please join me. Thank you.
Is there further announcements or introductions? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this morning, the Ag Council met, and in 2 weeks, they will be meeting again downstairs, and we'd be glad for any of you to attend those. This morning, I learned that there are 4.4 million hens in Colorado making eggs to be distributed all over the country and world. Also, there are 31,000 sows in Colorado. So I knew that you would want to know that.
Further announcements or introductions? Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to lay over the third reading calendar, the second reading calendar, and HAR 1013 until tomorrow, February 19th.
Seeing no objection, those items will be laid over upon the request of the Majority Leader. Introduction of Consideration of resolutions.
House Joint Resolution 1014 by Representatives Young and Landgraf, also Senators Lambert and Newell, concerning Awareness Day for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Madam Majority Leader. Oh, okay. Representative Young. Representative Landgraf. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move.
Excuse me for 1 second, Representative Landgraf. Members and guests, we are starting a resolution. Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move HJR 151014 and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas, in 1963, a Colorado statute authorized the provision of services and supports for Colorado citizens with intellectual and developmental disabilities through local, citizen-controlled, and citizen-established, community-centered boards and program-approved service agencies, offering an alternative to state-operated regional facilities. And whereas, for over 50 years, Colorado's community-based services system has led the way for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to receive services and supports in a manner that affords them greater independence by fostering relationships between the individuals receiving services and supports and local community resources. And whereas Coloradans with intellectual and developmental disabilities in every county across the state are able to live, learn, play, and work in their communities with the dignity, choices, opportunities, and responsibilities afforded to all citizens due to the services and supports provided by local community-centered boards and program-approved service agencies. And whereas Coloradans with intellectual and developmental disabilities want a person-centered system in which they are actively engaged in making informed choices to receive the right services at the right time and in the right places. And whereas Colorado's community system for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities has a long and proud history of enabling people to move from large institutional services to smaller, community-based integrated services, offering alternatives in the types of services and supports they receive. And whereas Colorado's community system for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities assists individuals in obtaining meaningful employment in a variety of settings, allowing them to work within their communities. And whereas direct support professionals assist individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to lead self-directed and empowered lives and should receive adequate wages, benefits, and training. And whereas people with intellectual and developmental disabilities should have access to comprehensible information and usable communication technologies to promote self-determination and meaningful engagement with all aspects of life. And whereas today, more than 15,000 Coloradans with intellectual and developmental disabilities receive high-quality services and supports through community-centered boards and program-approved service agencies. And whereas there is a significant demand across Colorado for services and supports for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and waiting lists for services are growing. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, proclaim February 18, 2015 to be Awareness Day for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the state of Colorado. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to community-centered boards and organizations that provide services and supports to adults and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families throughout Colorado.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. As many of you know, this day is very personal to me, as I have seen firsthand the challenges a person with intellectual disabilities faces. While I share in many of my son's challenges, I am blessed to share in his progress, his victories, and his love of life. I am honored to carry this resolution with Representative Young, but also want to recognize a person that made a significant impact in the IDD community, former Representative Bob Gardner. Representative Gardner made raising awareness for the people with intellectual and developmental disabilities a priority throughout his distinguished legislative career, and I am honored to carry that torch for a cause he so graciously represented.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and it's an honor to carry this resolution with you as well, Representative Landgraf. And actually, last night I went back and listened to last year's Developmental Disability Awareness Day and heard Representative Gardner carrying the resolution. And, you know, he and I'll reference this later in my remarks, really made some incredible comments about his career here in the legislature and the importance of this day. So I appreciate we were minds of the same on that. And again, it's an honor to carry the resolution with you. This is an annual resolution, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are new, this is the fourth time that I've had the honor of hearing the resolution, and it's close to my heart because my sister lives with a number of challenges, including intellectual and developmental disabilities, which we now abbreviate as IDD. And she also has significant mental and behavioral health issues as well as physical health issues. So, you know, there's not a one-size-fits-all solution here for people, and, you know, a wide spectrum of need. Today we bring this resolution to heighten your awareness of the daily challenges that people living with IDD and their families faced, and to thank a large array of direct service providers and advocates, including our community center boards, the ARCs, and groups like Colorado Cross Disabilities Coalition for supporting people and their families as they grapple with those challenges. You know, a lot of great work has been done to knit together a support system, but there's a lot more work left to do. As a legislature, we have taken significant steps in concert with the executive branch to end the wait list by fully funding some of our key Medicaid waivers. Representative Landgraf worked with Representative Schaefer last session to really push that through, and we acknowledge that hard work and thank her for that work. In the resolution, the concept of person-centered services is key. And you know, if you're looking at your resolution, it's there on page 2. It really is those lines 7 through 10 and maybe beyond. And I want to highlight that because person-centered services is really is a key. We want to provide people with the services they need when they need them. Novel concept, but key to this issue. And I want to acknowledge my own CCB and Vision up in northern Colorado for their training work across the state to the rest of the community center boards on person-centered thinking. We're making a shift in our thinking about the way we deliver services. It's not about systems, it's about people. It's about the services that they need. But you know, even with the great efforts that we've had so far, unbelievably, people are still waiting for services. This is because there's not this one-size-fits-all solution, and because we still don't have the capacity in many communities to serve everyone. And this year, again, almost $10 million will likely go unspent because we have yet to solve the challenge of that gap. We're working on it, but it's a lot of work to do. I think back to last year's resolution and channeling Representative Gardner here a little bit. You know, he really was a champion on this issue, and he was the sponsor, as I mentioned earlier, on this resolution. He reminded us, and I want to remind you again today, that this is not a partisan issue. This is something that we can do together. Supporting people with IDD is something we can and should do together as one body. So I urge you to make a difference. Reach out to the families in your district. I'm sure if you were knocking doors, you knocked on the door of someone who lives and is challenged with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and you maybe had a chance to meet their families. If you haven't, reach out to them. Learn what challenges they have and what they need to be successful. Visit with your community center board in your area. There's 20 of them that cover the entire state. And if you haven't met with them, I urge you to do so. Actually, many of those members are here today. If you're a community center board member, wave if you're in the audience today, either up above. We got some up and some around. So they're here today. If you have time, come to lunch at the Art Museum. If not, the CCBs will be across over at the old Supreme Court chambers upon adjournment, and you can meet them there. I urge your support of this resolution, and in the big picture, your support of working to make sure that every person in Colorado with intellectual and developmental disabilities is served.
Is there any further discussion on House Joint Resolution 1014? Seeing none, the motion is for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1014. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. HJR 1014 is adopted. Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the roll call be added to the resolution as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors to HJR 1014. Further announcements and introductions. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the House stand in recess until 1 p.m. later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will be in recess until 1 p.m. today.